Welcome, everyone, to the very first Grow and Learn for Women Empowered. My name is Bailey Burchette. I am a business intelligence engineer from the Kansas City branch, and I primarily work remote. I am also the committee head for engagement for Women Empowered, which I will be referring to as WE. The Learn and Grow for WE is all about providing the opportunity to gain wisdom, insight, and tips from various leaders and experts in and outside of our fields. This is an interactive session where you will have the opportunity to ask questions at the commencement of this interview. Again, thank you everyone for being here. We truly could not be where we are at without all of you. A little bit about WE. WE was created to deepen the connection of employees across the country, support women in the workplace, and help our members grow in various aspects of work and life. WE's three founding pillars are connection, growth, and community outreach. Although we are just getting started, we have already accomplished so much. WE currently has a total of 384 participants, with 263 of those being members and 121 of those being allies. We cannot reiterate enough. Thank you to everyone who has joined WE, spoken about WE, promoted WE, and decided that they wanted to be a part of this great opportunity at CTOS. We truly could not be here without you all, and we will never forget to remind you of that. I would now like to give the floor to one of WE's head chairs, Andrea Peasel.
Hi, I'm Andrea Peasel. I work out of the Kansas City office. I am a controller for the rental accounting group, and I've worked at Custom Truck for 6 years now. And I have the pleasure today to interview Miss Theresa. To kick us off, I wanted to say what my goals for today were, and that was to learn a little bit more about Miss Theresa and to gain some knowledge of what she can provide to us to help us become better. So, Miss Theresa, do you want to start us off by just giving us a little bit about your background, your resume, where you grew up, just who you are?
Yeah, thanks. Happy to be here. I'm really excited about the WE organization and the number of people that have volunteered to be a part of this great group. So thanks for having me here today. So I was from North Carolina, but moved to Kansas City when I was in high school and went to college here, finished up college, and then ended up leaving the Kansas City area for an opportunity in oil and gas, which unfortunately kept me out of Kansas City for about 25 years, moving all over the United States, doing HR work in that industry. And then last July, I had this opportunity to come work at Custom Truck, great opportunity, and come back home and be near my family and the Kansas City Chiefs, who I love. And so I've been here for almost 10 months now as the Chief Human Resources Officer.
And so far, so good?
So far, excellent.
Okay.
Great. Love all the people here. Love being back home. Love going to the branches and seeing all the people at the branches. We make really cool trucks that just fascinate me every day.
Well, that's pretty cool. I can't say that I've seen any of our locations other than Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, you need to get out. They're great.
Yeah. Okay, so you said that you went to high school and college here, but you've traveled a lot. That is something I also don't. I've stayed here, so that has to take a different kind of personality. Was it scary? What kind of places have you gone?
Yeah, it just happened accidentally at first. And in my first company I worked for, it was Occidental Oil and Gas and in the chemical division. And in that organization, moving around was really important for them because they gave you diverse experiences. Every location you went to, you learned something new because they were a company of acquisitions. And so they really promoted that. And me and my husband were kind of gypsy spirits, and our daughter, there's pros and cons with it. Our daughter didn't grow up near family for a lot of her life, but she also got to see places and experience cultures and live in different parts of the world that gave her a different experience than a lot of other kids. So we enjoyed it. It's probably not for everybody, but we enjoyed it. We have friends now all over the world.
And I
on
didn't
those
know you
trips.
had a daughter. So just one?
We have 3 children.
Wow,
That,
okay.
yeah, that I married when I married my husband about 20 years ago. And so, yeah, that's our youngest who's, she was 9 when we got married and she's 32 now. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So you've got an empty nest at this point.
Yes, just, well, us and our 2 dogs. Yeah.
Those are valid.
Yeah.
They take time and love too.
More than kids, I think.
Okay. So I guess this was a great segue with all your travel. One of the areas you were hoping to stress today was opportunities and how you've taken every opportunity that's come your way.
Yeah, one of the things that, I have a really good network through working at different locations and different places throughout the years. I've made sure to build a tribe, and those are people that I get advice from that support me. And one of those people, and they're men and women, so be careful with your tribe and not just make it women that tell you what you want to hear or men that tell you what you want to hear. Make sure it's people that will be honest with you and open with you and give you really good advice and support and celebrate with you. And one of my coworkers, who was a male, told me one time, because an opportunity was presented to me, and I was like, gosh, I'm just not sure if I'm ready for that. He goes, stop it. Like, take any opportunity that's given to you, especially as a promotion. And he shared, he's like, you can do it. I don't even know why you're questioning. And I've learned over the years that a lot of women have that first initial thought. They might see a job posting. If there's qualifications on there, they're like, ooh, I don't think I have all those, so I'm not going to apply. And that's something that we need to be confident about and say, especially if they outreach to us and say, hey, there's this great opportunity. We'd like to consider you for it. Obviously, they think that you have the skills and abilities to be successful in the job, and nobody goes into the job with everything. And so, there's always things in those job descriptions that we might not be skilled at, but we can develop with the right support. And so that was really good advice I got years ago from a friend that I worked with, and I've kept that because it's like, why would I not take this opportunity if they think I can do it, then let's go do it. And so that has served me really well over the years. And unfortunately, I've seen other women where we've reached out and said, hey, we've got this opportunity to be a manager. And they're like, I just don't think I'm ready yet. And we're like, well, we do. We think you're ready. And so I would just say have confidence. And if there's opportunities out there, express interest and don't, be transparent about where you feel like you might need support, but you'll be surprised what you could do.
Yeah, there's so much of what you just said that I can relate to. I remember the first time I applied for a job, and I'm like, who would want to hire me? Maybe it was at high school and you have no resume. And then even when you graduate college, you have little. But even as you work up, I could say that on any resume, I might qualify for. I had the same mentality. Is basically what I'm saying. If I didn't have every single thing, I'd be scared to apply. So
a lot of times, as young girls, we're taught to be modest.
That's true.
And men are taught to have a firm handshake. And so, you'd be surprised how much that influences how we think as we get older. And so I think that's one of the things as part of this organization that we can empower women to have the confidence when those opportunities come their ways is take them and run with them. And it doesn't mean you don't need support, because everybody needs support in a new job. And so, but embrace that.
And I think that could apply to everyone at CTOS.
Absolutely.
I've actually had conversations here recently with individuals that are looking to broaden or maybe change or adapt, maybe take another parallel so that they can broaden their skill sets. So that's really an exciting opportunity too, just to look at opportunities that are here at CTOS as well so that you can continue.
I took a lot of opportunities that were broadening, not necessarily promotions, but later resulted in promotions. So that is some really good advice. It's like broaden your knowledge and the promotion will come, and don't necessarily worry about the stair stepping up. Just learn what you can learn and gain things from different opportunities you have, and the promotion will come and the opportunities will continue to come if you do that.
So to transition just a little bit here. So I know you brought up tribe, and I want to hear more about that too. So would you be able to help just elaborate a little bit more what a tribe is to you? And also maybe tie that into how is that different than a mentor? Because when you were describing a lot of that, being a cheerleader, sometimes a mentor can help bring that reality to me. So
Yeah. A tribe, some people use the term different ways, but the way I use it is they're my support group. They're the people that are my people. And it doesn't mean they're always going to tell me what I want to hear, but they're people that I can feel completely confident that I can talk about anything with. and they're going to give me good advice. They'll celebrate with me. If I need to cry, they'll listen to me and not tell me I'm crazy, but they will point me in the right direction afterwards. And it's very important to have a diverse group in your tribe. So I have different tribes. So I obviously have my family.
Mm-hmm.
I have my girlfriends that I've had since high school, and they're a great tribe, and we celebrate a lot together. But in my work tribe, I really try to make sure I have a diverse group of people there, and men and women. And some of the best advice I have gotten over the years have been from men that are in my tribe, and they've been in my tribe a long time, and they're probably some of my best friends, and they're people that I worked with. So really important to pick the right people that are positive, people that are honest with you, and you can be honest with them, and they're there to support you, so you can be your best. So
Yeah, and I bet you're continuing to expand your tribe every year.
absolutely. Like, a lot of people will ask me, because I was in oil and gas and now in our industry here, it's predominantly male. How do you handle that? I do that by finding people that I can connect with and share with and learn from, and that's my tribe. And so, yeah, I need a CTOS tribe.
After hearing this, I do think that I have a lot of different tribes, and that's what I appreciate about it is when I go to them, it's not all, oh, you're right, Andrea.
Yeah.
You know, you're completely, on target. I like how they can give a different perspective on things.
Right.
So it's not where they're saying you're wrong, but it's
Right.
saying, have you put yourself in their shoes?
That's right.
Maybe you need to pivot.
Yeah.
So I like that advice, and just putting a name to it can really help validate it. So do you have mentors then that are part of your tribe, or is that kind of a separate?
I've never honestly had a formal mentor.
Oh, really?
In my whole career. I've seeked people out informally and have just created that, but was never blessed to kind of have that environment when I started working. But that doesn't mean I don't have mentors. Like, one of my previous bosses is somebody I still call today.
Okay.
And he's somebody, when I get a new when I got this job, I called him and talked to him about it. When I got the offer, when I got the job, he was so excited for me. And so, I really do keep in contact with people that I've met throughout my career that have been part of my tribe, and I try to keep them in there. So even if you don't see them every day and work together, like, keep in touch with those people, because later on they're great people to, besides just have as friends, but people, if you need advice later on, you can reach out to.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like your we don't make it official thing. It's kind of like you're not Facebook official friends, or Facebook official mentors, but you're still that's what they act for you as.
Right, absolutely.
Perfect. So what is some other great advice or mottos that you have helped succeed through your career here?
Yeah, I think one of the things for me is just as a woman, there was opportunities that would come, and I'd have some friends that would say, oh, gosh, we didn't get it because we weren't a woman. They had to pick a man. It's like, yeah, I don't really agree with that. I think there's something that they're doing differently than what we are. And I think really looking intrinsically as far as, like, what are those differences and inwardly that maybe they do differently than I do, and figuring that out. And one that when I did that look inside is men are more succinct and concise when they're communicating. And as you move up in the organization, people have less and less time to spend 45 minutes with you talking about a subject. And so as I looked around and thought, okay, what do the guys do that they're doing really well that I don't do that way? And that was one of them. Like, how do I figure out how to get my message across in a more concise, succinct way? Especially when you're working with executives in the organization. They have very limited time. They don't have the time to spend 45 minutes and just hear the whole backstory on something. So, that's something that I still have to be very conscious about and, work on. So that's some advice, that just looking around and observing who's successful and what do they do differently than what I have done and where can I improve. That's one of the areas I think many women will struggle with, because we are very interpersonal and want to chat and kind of give the whole reasoning for our decisions. And some of that has to do with not having the confidence that, we would have in the workplace. But I just say, be confident, make your decision, and go in there and make your pitch as concise as possible.
So is that something that you just were made self-aware of and you're conscious of it and you're trying to improve, or is it something you read a book and so you're trying to implement strategic?
Actually, it's what I witnessed. So it's
Okay.
like I read a book one time that said if you want to be successful, watch successful people.
Oh, I like it.
And so it's like watch what they do and, see what works for them and then look at yourself and how well do you do that. And so, when my friends were making those comments years ago about, well, I don't know why we're not getting promoted. It's like, well, I don't know. Maybe we should think about what do we need to do differently and look at the people that are getting promoted. And so that was just something that came to mind. It's like, probably take too long to get to my point. So
I bet there's a opposite to that as well, though, because I feel like sometimes on my emails I go approved or denied. Maybe there's a little elaboration that's needed
well, yeah,
there.
emails, we can tend to get busy and short with our answers. And yeah, it's always good to take some time with an email and make sure the message is got a little introduction and a close. So
Yeah, but I've been in those meetings as well where we're done after 5 minutes and we don't
Yeah.
need to stretch it to 30.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that advice. Okay. Anything else super important that has really helped elevate you?
I just think being positive and being resilient when times get hard or when things are tough. So every person in this organization has struggles inside and outside of work. And some days are better than others. And so what separates people that are successful and the ones that might struggle is like the ability to pick yourself up and say, okay, tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to move on. I'm going to get past this, whether it's a conflict with a coworker, whether it's a challenging project that didn't go the way you wanted it to go, whether it was an opportunity you missed out on. It's just being positive and being resilient and say, I'm going to do better tomorrow. I'm going to get this knocked out tomorrow. So, that's for sure. There's been challenges in my career that I've had that have been really hard. We deal with a lot of people stuff in HR and not all that goes the way we want it to go. And so it's just, giving yourself grace and then being positive that they'll be better and be resilient and just overcome.
Do you think you mastered it?
Well, my mom taught me to be pretty positive, so I start from that place in most times. So it's pretty hard to get me down. I have a positive outlook on life, but there's days where I feel overwhelmed or just things didn't go right, and I'll just tell myself that. So,
All right, ladies. Sorry to interject, but we do want to leave some time for audience questions. So if you are watching us right now, please feel free to drop your questions that you have for Theresa. And we actually have one.
or Andrea.
Awesome.
Or Andrea, of course, either or. All right, our first question from the audience is, I try to tell younger coworkers that they need to get a support system. How do you get younger coworkers to buy into this? Very good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I've never had that be a hard sale because most people want a sense of belonging. And I think showing them like the benefits of being in a network and illustrating or sharing your story of how it's helped you in the past and how it will help them. Everybody needs a case for change. And so if there's a what's in it for me, how will it help me? But they'll also learn too by being that support person for the other person because it is definitely a two-way street. It just doesn't go one ways. But I think about instead of just telling them what to do, it's like, why would this benefit them? What's in it for them and how that would help them? Most people are pretty receptive to that, is my experience.
Great answer. Another question we have from the audience is, how do you deal with burnout as a woman in a male-dominant industry?
I could tell you COVID was a really hard time. Like I've never worked more in my life as an HR person, trying to help employees through all the challenges that we had and keep the business doing what it needs to do during that period of time. Because I was in California and we were shut down. We weren't shut down, but we were remote work for 2 years. And we had employees struggling with mental health and emotional health issues during that time, people struggling with caregiving, support for their children or their parents. And it was just hard. I'm not great at that. I'm probably great at managing burnout, but I'm not great at not working too much. That is one of my challenges. How I manage not having burnout is having fun And so, like, I'll work a lot of hours, but at the end of the day, I do something fun, whether it's with my husband or it's a walk or, sometimes on Saturday, on the weekends, it's like we just need to go have fun. So I read an article one time that talked about, like, how do you rejuvenate? How do you recharge? And it's really disconnecting from work and making sure there's certain times that you truly disconnect and go do fun things. And it was interesting because it said, like, binging on the couch, watching Amazon all day, which I'm guilty of after certain weeks of work, is like, my husband's like, are you going to get out of your pajamas? No, today I'm not. I'm just going to binge watch all day. That really doesn't help you rejuvenate, is what I found. And I was surprised by that. But doing things that give you joy and make you have fun are what help you rejuvenate and help you avoid burnout. And the other thing is ask for help. So as women, and there's men too, I don't mean that when I say that I'm stereotyping, but a lot of women do have a hard time saying no or asking for help. And if there's always times in your jobs where there's a lot of work and you just gotta, push through and get it done. But there's other times there's people around that will help you, or you can talk to your boss about reprioritizing work to where you don't kill yourself. So if that extends to where it's affecting your personal life or your health, like, have a conversation with your leader about priorities or support, because nobody wants that happening to anybody. It's not healthy for any of us. So
I feel like it bleeds too. If you're feeling it, then the person sitting next to you feels it, and you're a little less approachable. So it's not just you.
Yeah, we get grumpy.
Yes,
Nobody wants to work with grumpy people.
No.
So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Theresa. We have another question from the audience. What are ways men can be good allies? And I think we'd like to hear from Theresa and then Andrea.
Okay. Well, men or women can be great allies. And being a good ally starts with just being there for somebody and listening to their concerns and really being open to hear about experiences that are not the same as one's own experiences. So I think it starts with that. It starts with including them in things. So, like, if you're in a meeting and you realize somebody's not in the meeting that you think should be there, like, ask to have that person invited next time or bring them into the conversation. So being a good ally, if you're in a meeting and you have some vocal people and somebody's not speaking, like, calling on them and asking for their opinions, those are all good examples of allies. But I think listening and hearing what their experience is about. The other piece is, this is a bit stronger, but if you see something that's happening that's not inclusive, say something. You don't have to say it right in the moment. That's always nice. But afterwards, because silence is agreement in most people's eyes. And so that takes a strong person. But, a lot of things are said or done in the workplace that might not be inclusive. And a lot of people might just think they're jokes or funny, but might not even realize how it could make the other person feel. If you're a strong ally, you'll help improve that situation by saying something. And so that, that takes a little stronger. It takes some courage and be brave, but that's what makes the best kind of inclusive workforce, where we can talk like that with each other and be open.
I would say what I would hope for our allies to get out of it too would just be the awareness of differences. I hear some stories and I haven't even thought of a woman having to go through that. So I would see what differences there are, because there are differences between how a female and a male think and how we feel, and just being aware of those that can help you understand what they're going through.
Absolutely.
All right. One more question we have from the audience. Are there any traits or behaviors that you have seen derail female leaders' careers? And do you have any advice for any women who are wanting to be in that leadership role?
That's a really good question. Me personally, it's the being concise and succinct is really important. I think women are really strong leaders. My husband, he was in the safety field for 25 years, and his two favorite bosses were female, which I was like, wow, that's surprising. Why is that? And he's like, because they don't tell me what to do. They let me do my job, and they're very caring. They're people I had really close relationships with. So I think women are really strong leaders. he does too, to share that. I mean, he just out of nowhere said they've been my favorite bosses that I've ever had. And he explained why. And so I think we just get in our own way sometimes. And so I would just say the confidence probably of maybe delaying their first leadership role because they don't feel confident will set some women back. They'll wait longer than male counterparts or male peers will because they're not confident and don't think they're ready. Just don't let that happen to you, and go for it and ask for support on the way and ask for help if there's areas you're not comfortable with. And then communications is an area I think that everybody as a leader, needs to be really strong with. So those are probably the two areas.
The behaviors I notice are typically when a female reacts emotionally rather than logically. That's not to say a male wouldn't react emotionally, but I think we tend to. And it could be because we care so much, but sometimes that's not perceived well in those circumstances.
I don't see as much as that, but I hear what you're saying. I've worked in 2 companies where we've had female CEOs, and it's been real interesting. And I think it's Harvard does some research on female leaders and male leaders, and male leaders are more predominantly evaluated by people based on their technical capabilities, and female leaders are evaluated first and foremost on their care and how caring they come across. And so, which is great for a lot of females because they're very caring. We've been raised to be mothers and nurturers. But if a female isn't strong in that, that can be a challenge. So my previous CEO struggled in that space. And it's just getting open up about how you feel, because many women that have been in the industry a long time are very guarded and don't want to share their feelings. And so I say, just be yourself and share what you're feeling with people, and you'll do great. Women are great leaders, so.
Thank you, ladies. We appreciate you more than you know. I'm going to go ahead and start the wrap up for the Women Empowered Employee Resource Group's very first Learn and Grow. I would like to give a very, very warm thank you to Theresa for taking the time out of her day to be here. A warm thank you to Andrea for also taking the time out of her day to be here. The insight that we gained from these ladies today is what these Grow and Learns are for. We are so excited for the We group. I want to thank the audience for participating, for asking questions, for engaging. And as you can see here on the screen, we ERG at customtruck.com. We want to hear from you. We want to know your ideas. We want to know who you want to see sitting in the hot seat next time. We also would like to just hear any feedback from anyone on how this group has inspired you or helped you empower your wife, daughter, sister. We are here for you. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day.